some adjustments that I've personally made in regards to accepting this for myself personally is I no longer call myself a trans female. I no longer say that I'm female. All of my social media accounts that had that in there, I made the point to remove that. So now what I do is I regard myself as a woman, as a girl sometimes. I never say that I'm female because that is misleading and that is not grounded in fact, and that is how I prefer to live. So yes, trans woman or woman. You know, trans women or women. I did make that video months back about that. I still stand by that, but I'm fairly certain that things that I said in that video conflict with what I'm saying now. But, you know, that's a story for another time. In regards to my work life and how I've adjusted that sort of thing in my personal life, I kind of want to put this out publicly. I don't think I've ever said this before, but personally, until I was able to take steps to live firmly and honestly as a woman, to identify publicly as such, I constantly bit the bullet, constantly for a number of years, to painfully, begrudgingly live as a man. And that's just personally what I did. I didn't have the means, I wasn't prepared, I didn't have the right information. I simply was just incapable of presenting myself as a woman in public, and that will cause issues. This is an argument that is brought up among many conservatives. Like, if many people are not just conservatives, but people who are centrist as well. But the example of a guy saying this, rather, like someone who identifies as male or as a man would say, "Oh, what? So if I woke up one day and said, I'm a woman, and I changed nothing about myself. I didn't change my hair, I didn't change anything, not my clothes, nothing. And I'm saying, I'm a woman. Is that okay?" The issue with that is, if someone did that, if someone just decided to do that, if they just said that and changed nothing about themselves, I would personally have a problem with that. Because that's terribly misleading. And it hurts what trans people and who trans people are. It hurts everything that we are as individuals. My friends knew about me questioning and everything that I was doing, and I would go to conventions and, you know, dress in feminine clothes. I would do all those things until I could live day to day as who I am. And I did that because it just made sense to do so. If you're going to be transgender, if that's something that you have accepted, then bite the bullet. Like I did. I did it for many, many years until I was able to have the makeup or have the funds to get the clothes, until I had clothes, even though clothes don't make the person. Until I was able to really live, firmly live daily as a female. As a woman. See, I'm still learning. Sorry. If you're going to transition, just take your time. Take your time. Tell the people who are close to you and just take your time. Accept the system, but always try to find ways around that. I found ways around it. I still, I live day to day, but I didn't fully start transitioning until I could. And that's just one way to get around it. Using HRT, seeing a psychologist, speaking with a psychologist, getting HRT, if you can afford certain types of surgeries. Those are general ways around it, and those are ways to properly represent yourself as an individual, as the person that you are. So the conversation doesn't have to be about trans rights, but simply about human rights. Just being able to live without causing any sort of conflict is essentially what most trans people are striving to do, like myself. But just to kind of close that idea of, accepting the system as it is, for a while I was like, well, this is my name and I don't go by that name. My name is my name is my name is Nina, and I live by that name. And I would do this in actual institutions where I needed to get things done. I needed to legally get things done, and that would just cause confusion. That would cause issues. That would hold up the things that I needed. I would, where it said sex on paperwork, I would put F, and that would cause confusion. That would cause issues. That would cause people to have to call me and have to confirm things with me. That would cause the wrong kinds of questions to be asked. Like, regardless of how I identify gender-wise, how I am treated as an individual still has to be treated in regards to those who are male, because my sex is male. And if I'm telling doctors that I'm female, they're going to treat me like I'm a female, and they're going to ask those questions. They're going to look for certain things. And even if I'm on HRT, there are some things that doctors need to know that would cause confusion, or I wouldn't be treated properly, not treated as a human being, but I mean medically treated, because they would believe that I'm female because I look a certain way. And that would be detrimental to myself, and that's the point that I'm trying to get at. So with that said, with regards to my work, I still, all of my IDs that I need to function at my job, they have M on them. My driver's license still has M on it. Obviously, driver's license is really hard to get around, but any sort of legal identification, such as a driver's license or some sort of high security identification, which I have because of my job, it says M. But only a very few people at my job know about this. So I'm still living, I'm still being who I am. Just people don't have to know. But I'm not blatantly saying, oh, well, I'm female. And I'm not causing issues. I'm not going to cause conflict at my job, because that's going to hurt my job. That's going to hurt my livelihood. Because if I'm going to stand by these ideas that so many trans advocates live by, like, I should have the right to say that I'm female, and because it's like gender is different from sex and all that, basically what I've been saying for the longest time up until this video, if I continue to do that, then that would only hurt my ability to succeed as an individual, because your success and who you are should override any of that. And that's why I personally lived as a man for a number of years, even after I began questioning. That's just what you have to do. One of my counselor in college told me that sometimes you have to do things that you don't want to do to get to where you want to be. And that has always stuck with me. That always has stuck with me, because it's so true. It's so true. And that's just the way things are, really. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't fight for what you believe in or fight for who you are as an individual, but don't do it at the cost of your job. Don't do it at the cost of your livelihood. What I did was I worked the system in my favor. And I'm not saying accept the system, I'm saying work the system and then find ways around the system so that you can be who you are regardless. Get your foot in the door. Establish yourself. And then take that step, if you can. One last adjustment that I've made is that when I'm personally asked about sex and gender, when someone asks what my sex is, yeah, I'm male. And you should treat me, and you should medically treat me as such, because that's just who I am. And this is an immutable fact. No matter what I do with HRT, no matter what surgery I have, this is immutable. This cannot be changed. However, gender-wise, I'm a woman, because I live like this. I live like a woman, day to day. Like I said, only a few people know at my job. The majority of the people who I interact with, they are 100% sure that I'm a woman, and that's the way that it should be. There's no reason for more people to know than is necessary. I have no problem coming out to people. I obviously don't, because I've done it many times over video, but the fact is, people don't have to know. It's not relevant. It's not something that I have to shout from the rooftops about. I just need to be who I am, and my actions and who I am and my image as an individual. My heart will speak for itself, and I'm a firm believer in that. Whether sex or gender should be on all legal documentation, that's something I want to talk about in a different video. But until I'm able to do these things and take these steps to navigate, to circumvent the system, I will play the game, because it is in my best interest to play the game. A lot of people have questioned people like Jordan Peterson about his stance on transgender matters, and there's like the thing about like, these are my pronouns, like things like that. I have a hard time agreeing with. A frequently forgotten fact is that people like me, people who are in the transgender community, simply are very small. We're a very, very small subset of people who, and people who have contacted Jordan Peterson in regards to him being questioned for his stance on pronouns. They agree with him, and I agree with him, because the people who agree with him are reasonable individuals who are actually thinking about these things, who understand that what he's saying, he's not saying that he will not use your pronouns. He's not saying that. What he's saying is that he does not want the government in the business of telling him how to control his speech. And this is a free speech issue. I personally agree with that, because at the end of the day, the conflicts and the fighting that's going on, the trans fight for trans rights that's going on, I personally have a hard time just kind of agreeing with the whole thing. I really do, like, because as Jordan Peterson has said, many of the trans people who have written to him, they just want to live in peace. They don't want to fight. They just want to be able to be who they are, because they've taken the steps to be who they are. They navigated the system, they worked the system in their favor, and now they're living. They don't have problems going to the bathroom like me. They just live. And all this ruckus that we're trying to make on behalf of the community, I don't agree with every matter being a trans issue or being a trans rights issue. I don't agree with just making a noise about any old thing, especially about the matter of the bathrooms. That has only been inflated due to people who are advocating for this making noise about it. If people would learn how to just have conversations, and that's what's not happening. The conversations are not happening. It's the advocates yelling one thing, and then the conservatives yelling another thing, and nothing is really getting done because no one is really talking, and everyone is talking over each other, while people like Jordan Peterson are trying to have conversations. Ben Shapiro is trying to have a conversation, regardless of him being a conservative. He's trying to have a conversation with these people, but the advocates don't want to have it. The people on the left don't want to have it, and that's the problem. The conversations aren't happening, and these fights are happening, and these issues that shouldn't be issues are being inflated ever further. And really, at the end of the day, we just want to live in peace. I know this is a really long way to say that I'm a woman, but I don't regard myself as female anymore. But I felt that these things need to be said, and it's been a while since I've been on camera, so I wanted to get back in front of you guys who are actually here for this sort of thing. I'm sure I'm going to lose what few people I have subscribed because of this video, but this has to be said, and this is, like, I don't want this to be political, but it's being forced to be political. I don't want it to be, but I'm learning, and I'm understanding. I'm doing my research. I'm listening to both sides. I'm listening. I've heard enough of the left. I've been on the left without really realizing it for the longest time. And now I'm doing my research, and I'm having the conversations, reading the articles on both sides, and I'm trying to figure out where I stand. And still working on that. So, thanks again, like and subscribe, but also, until next, you lovely human. The idea of being a woman should not trump the idea, I don't like using the word Trump,